They'll eat things that their peers are eating. They're eating things that just look good. And then all of a sudden, we'll get the parents emailing us going, can I get the recipe for the tacos you made at school? We get it all the time.
I'm Delia Colon, and this is The Zest. Citrus, seafood, Spanish flavor, and Southern charm. The Zest celebrates cuisine and community in the Sunshine State. Actually, hold the seafood for today because we are visiting a school right here in Florida that is 100% plant-based. Before we jump in, I want to let you know about an event that you may be interested in attending. I hope you're interested because I'll be there. It's Sarasota Art Museum's Quotable Talk series, and I will be the guest speaker on Saturday, March 22nd from 1 to 3 p.m. I would love to meet you. We'll be talking about my book, The Florida Vegetarian Cookbook, and even having some food samples from the book. If you want more information, just head to sarasotaartmuseum.org. Now, another place you'll be very interested in is what we're talking about today on the pod. How does this sound? Roasted sweet potato and black bean tacos, linguini with mushroom sauce, vegetable risotto, and it's all vegan. If this sounds like the menu at some high-end restaurant in, California, think again. These are items on a school lunch menu here in Florida. I know. At Solid Rock Community School in Tarpon Springs, every item that comes out of the cafeteria is 100% plant-based. Families can even order vegan to-go meals to take home and eat for dinner. This puts Solid Rock in a pretty small group of K-12 schools in the U.S. that are completely plant-based, and you will hear just how small that group is in a few minutes. Now, the idea for a plant-based cafeteria came from Solid Rock's founder and executive director, Michele Fasnacht, who started the school in 2004. The private school also offers programs like gardening, culinary arts, and veterinary education alongside traditional academics. The Zest team recently met up with Michele in the school office. In our conversation, she explains why she overhauled the menu. Not a popular decision at the time, by the way. In this episode, you'll also hear from some Solid Rock students about what they think of the cafeteria food now.
My name is Kalia, and I am 7 years old, and I was vegan my whole life. It's healthier for our body instead of eating meat. Meat is normally we're eating our own friend. If they eat vegan, it's actually saving the animals, and when they actually save the animals, that means they get to keep the animals alive and bring them back. I like to eat like a lot of vegan foods and a lot of good healthy stuff. My mom makes like a lot of healthy stuff for me to eat. So that's why I'm getting so strong and I'm running so much faster each day and stuff.
My plant-based journey started really by accident, to be honest with you. So where I came from, we didn't use words like vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, things like that didn't exist. I didn't know those terms at all, zero. But my grandparents had a farm. My dad was a hunter. And at a family gathering when I was around 9 years old, my dad was giving me a burger to eat that I did not want to eat. I actually did not like eating meat. I just didn't like it. And he gave me a burger. I didn't want it, but I took it. I took a bite of it. And then he started laughing. It was a big joke to everybody. And he said, oh, that was the deer that I hunted. And I threw myself on the ground crying because to me, I had just eaten Bambi. Aww. So I was extremely upset about that. And I, at that point, was like, I don't want to eat animals anymore. So that's kind of where my journey with food began, but it was totally as a kid, and there wasn't really much thought that went into it other than no, I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of kids have that moment of, I don't want to eat Bambi.
Right.
And then for some people it sticks, and then some people
Yeah.
will go back to eating Bambi.
Yeah, so for me, that was like, that just happened. So it was just like an organic thing that happened. And then I was just living my life as what you would call either a vegetarian or pescatarian, because again, I grew up not really understanding the differences of those things. But then just on my own, I was very sick. I had lupus and MS. I was very sick. I was disabled. I was legally blind. I was walking with a cane. All kinds of craziness was happening in my life. And during this time of going through all of this, I was just on Facebook one day and I saw a cow and the baby was being taken away from the cow. And it was just a really upsetting thing. And through that Facebook post, I learned so much about cows that I didn't know before. Like, happy cows do not give milk. It's mothers who have had their babies taken away. And then those mothers always wind up in the slaughterhouses. And I never knew that. So here I was, an adult who didn't know that. And so I was vegetarian and not eating animals because I didn't want to contribute to animal cruelty. But by still having dairy and cheese, I was. So at that moment, I immediately stopped consuming any animal products. And then within 48 hours, my MS symptoms that I had been dealing with for decades at that point were gone.
Wow.
So the majority of them were gone. And that was the only change that had happened in my life. And I mean, I'm talking some very, very extreme changes. So that's when I started my plant-based journey.
Incredible. Okay, so when was that? And then how do we get from that moment to now we're sitting in Solid Rock Community School in Tarpon Springs?
Yeah, so the school had already started. I started the school in 2004. Okay, so here I'm running the school and I go through this time period. I mean, I'm seriously disabled at times. I mean, it was really rough running the school, actually. And then I've had this major transition in my life where my health has completely changed, my diet has changed, and my eyes have really been open to animal cruelty and the way animal products affect our health. So I'm seeing all of this, and here I'm running this school. And at the time, our school, we're getting our food delivered from one of the county schools. So they bring in like the typical county lunches and they deliver them to our students. And the meals are not nice, is I guess the best I could say. And I would go home and I would get into bed with my husband at night and I would start crying and I would say, I'm going to get choked up saying it. I felt so guilty giving the kids this food because this food was making me and keeping me sick. You know what I mean? Things that were in that food really made me and kept me sick. And here I'm giving it to kids. And the guilt that I had for that was terrible. And the reality is, most of the kids didn't eat the food. They threw it away. And so now we're using animal products and we're throwing away their products. And so these animals are being used as food and then the food is being thrown out. Everything about it felt wrong. I would sit in bed and I would just sob. I felt so guilty. I felt like I was committing the biggest sin because I knew, right? Before I didn't know. If you don't know, you can't blame anybody for what they don't know. I always say that. Education is power. You can't blame anyone for what they don't know. But once we know, then we have choices to make. And so here, I've learned all of these new things about animal cruelty and about diet and how animal products affect health. And I knew. And I'm giving the kids this food. And I just felt really bad about it. And I said, I don't want to be part of this. Like, anybody can eat whatever they want. Okay, I am not here to control what anyone eats. So I want to get that clear. It's very important to me. I'm an educator. I'm not trying to be a controller. All right. But people need to know and make choices, right? I went to dozens of doctors across 5 different states, and not one doctor ever spoke to me about food.
No.
Never. And if you look up MS and dairy, autoimmune diseases and dairy. It's all right there. You find it as soon as you look it up. But if you don't even know that there's a possibility of a correlation, it's not even something you consider.
Wow.
So now that I knew all these things, I just didn't want to be part of giving anything to other people. So I don't want to give kids cigarettes. I don't want to give them alcohol. I don't want to give them anything that could be dangerous to them. Everybody can do whatever they want to do at home. They can eat whatever they want to eat. That is not my responsibility. But running the school, I wanted to give people the healthiest, cruelty-free food that's possible.
Oh, wow. I love that. Okay, so you are the director of this private school. So you have
Founder.
founder and director, of this private school. So you do have a certain amount of control, but it's really hard to switch the food offerings, even in your own house. So how did you go about doing that? Was it quote unquote cold turkey?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy and not popular all the time, right? So first of all, switching at my house was quite a thing, So, I mean, my husband wasn't there with me on day one. It took him a period of time to evolve and move in that direction. And now, of course, he's right there 100% with me. I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. It did not have 100% support at the beginning. So we went through some big pains with it at the beginning. People were mad about it.
Who was mad?
And, I mean, there were staff members, there were parents. And the thing is again, we were never trying to control what anyone ate at home. And we always have allowed kids to bring their own lunch. So you can pack your own lunch and bring whatever you want in your lunchbox. I'm not giving it to you. Right? So there's a difference. Like if you go home and you're smoking cigarettes, I don't like that, but it's your life, right? But I'm not going to give you a cigarette at school.
Sure.
Well, that's the way that I look at the unhealthy foods too. It's like, I don't want to give them to you. So anybody you can eat whatever you want at home. You can bring your own lunchbox filled with whatever you want. But if the school is providing it to you, we're going to provide healthy plant-based meals.
I love that. Okay, so what did a typical lunch look like before? And what does a typical lunch look like today? It's almost lunchtime, probably.
Yes.
If I walked into the lunchroom, what are they serving?
Okay, so today, gosh, I wish I had the menu. It's sitting right out there. We have so many things on the menu. So we have from like a loaded baked potato to a loaded sweet potato to a salad. There's always a soup of the day, which is wonderful. There's a variety of items on the menu that you get to choose from. So it's very similar to a restaurant in that you look at the menu and you pick what you want. So it's not 1 or 2 meals a day. I think there's 30 things to choose from a day. So there's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, there's very big choices. And so we have a lot of familiar kids' foods. So there'll be nuggets, there'll be burgers, there'll be dogs, okay? There'll be all those normal spaghetti, pasta, all those normal things that you would see in any household. But some of them already, when you're eating them at home, are plant-based. Pasta marinara sauce is a plant-based option, right? It's just naturally plant-based. But then there's plant-based versions of things that we'll have, like the nuggets or the burgers. And I call them really transition foods because those are foods that kids are very familiar with, and they like the way they taste, they like the way they look, and they just eat them without any thought involved. Then we have things like mushroom risotto or eggplant lasagna, tofu and veggies, or my gosh, the menu is humongous.
Amazing.
So every day there's this huge number of things that are on the menu daily, and then every day there's a special of the day. So you have like these 30 items that happen every single day, and then one day you have what we call like the super special, because it's something like really beautiful.
Oh, this is like college. Where you walk in and you just have endless choices. I love this. So how did that change the way you plan the meals? Because if you're a typical school principal getting the meal from the county, it shows up, it may not be great, but it's very like low effort.
Right. Well, that was like no effort, and it was really great, like in that sense. But the food was terrible for us. First of all, the food, again, from my perspective, it's not healthy, it's not cruelty-free, it's not sustainable. So there's nothing about it that fits what our mission statement is. So I didn't like that. And then we've got number 2, the kids aren't even eating it. So even though they're ordering it because they can get it free or they can get it reduced or whatever it may be, they're not even really eating it. So mainly they were packing lunches at that point. A few took advantage of that, most didn't. So when we switched over to having chef-created meals, definitely we have more people ordering, of course, because now the meals are healthy and fresh. And the thing is, parents, regardless of what they eat at home, every adult human being can agree that plant-based meals are healthy for you. So nobody's going to say, I don't want my child eating that potato. I don't want my child having that salad or soup. I don't want my child having that sandwich. No one's going to say that, right? So I think everybody can agree with that. So regardless of what dietary preferences they have at home, they'll agree that our lunches are healthy. They're better for sustainability. So they can all agree with that. So our families that we have today, they all realize this is not something that we're forcing on them. This is just something that we offer. And so they can choose to take advantage of it or not.
Oh, I love that. I want to be a kid again.
And then I can sleep at night, right? I can sleep without the guilt.
Yes.
So for me, that was a big thing, is the guilt that I had.
Yes.
And now I don't have the guilt.
My name is Dominique Fountain. I'm 14 years old. I go to Solid Rocks Funds, plant-based. I'm in 8th grade right now. And like, I really have like a lot of hobbies. I just like hanging out, playing basketball, all that. Just like normal stuff.
My name's Yvonne Cohen, and I'm in 10th grade, and I'm in the state program. The food here is really good, like especially the meatballs, in my opinion. At home, I don't eat meat anymore, so it's like kind of the same at home than it is at school. And I eat Impossible meatballs, so they taste the same at school as they would be at home. Some of my favorite menu items at the school would be like the ice cream and the cookies and the cupcakes, but also their pizza is really good. The rest of my family doesn't really follow it except my mom. Me and my mom try to do it, like eat a lot of vegan stuff instead of non-vegan stuff because we don't want to hurt the animals anymore.
And you know what I've noticed? Okay, I'm a vegetarian, mostly vegan, but when I tell people I'm a vegetarian,
I love it.
and probably when you tell people you're a vegan, they start giving you their excuses. Oh, well, I need my protein because of this, and I feel better when I blah, blah, blah. And I think that's coming from a place of guilt. Deep down, they know maybe this isn't the best for me, for the planet, etc.
Yeah, that's very true. It's hard for people. I think food addiction is the #1 addiction in the world, personally.
Oh, totally. And listen,
yeah.
I have a chocolate addiction. I'll be the first to admit, so I'm not on a high horse in any way.
Yeah, so I mean, we know that alcohol is an addiction. We know that drugs are an addiction, and we can all agree that those are bad addictions, right? Food is an addiction too. And we use food for everything. We use it for fellowship. We use it for family time. We use it, it's just a society normal, and it's on every commercial. It's in every happening all day long, every day. So it's something that's so normalized, making changes is very difficult for people. So some people, like me, I saw a video one time and then immediately was done, right? Other people, they hear the same message over and over again, and it takes them hearing it 500 times before it resonates with them. And other people it may never resonate with. And, you know, all we can do is, again, I'm an educator. I'm all about education. I'm going to show you things, and you choose and do what you want. You know, I'm not here to control you. I'm just here to be honest.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I went vegetarian after watching one documentary.
Which one was it?
It was Vegucated on
Okay.
Netflix. I don't even know if it's on Netflix anymore. But some people have those light bulb moments,
Yes.
and then other people are more gradual. And I'm with you. I'm not here to beat anybody up, because that doesn't even work, by the way. I do want to know, what changes did you notice? I don't know when you made the plant-based switch here at the school, but what changes did you notice in the kids?
So it was funny. So I could tell you a few funny stories. I remember one of the dads who came with his daughter. He said to me, my daughter's never going to eat any of this food here. And I said, that's fine. And he's like, I'm just letting you know, she's not even going to drink a smoothie. She's going to have nothing. We don't eat like this at home. And she's never going to do it. She's very picky. And I'm like, that's fine. You know, no issue. And so it was the first week of school. And I was going around, it was lunchtime, and I was going around interviewing some of the kids to see what they thought about the lunches. And the child goes, this is the best food I've ever had. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. So sometimes parents think their kids won't like the food, and the kids love the food.
Yes.
The kids aren't thinking about the food. It's a potato, it's a salad, it's a burger. They're not thinking about it. They just want it. If it tastes good, they like it.
Sure.
You know, and it looks normal. We have tacos, you know, we have all the normal foods. So kids like it.
Yeah, this is their normal.
Yeah.
And kids will eat things outside of home that they won't eat at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They'll eat things that their peers are eating. They're eating things that just look good. And then all of a sudden we'll get the parents emailing us going, can I get the recipe for the tacos you made at school? We get it all the time. And I love that, right? And we get so many kids, they'll say, well, we don't have this at home. And it's because it's not something normal that their parents buy. But then when they go home and they tell their parents, they'll say, what is that? Can I have the recipe? You know, they're ready to like try something new.
I love that. The kids are influencing the parents.
Yes.
Okay, I heard that you have a curbside menu. This sounds amazing. I just want to live at this school. What's
Yes,
the curbside menu?
We do. That is something that we implemented this school year. And we do it really as a fundraiser for the school. So it's a way that we can, fundraise a little bit for the lunch program. And it's also to offer the parents a convenience. Okay. So many parents, like all of us, we don't want to go home and cook. We get home, we're tired, and we don't want to do it. So what are people doing? They're heating up mac and cheese, micro meals, just junk food, right? So what we've done is, remember how I told you we have that beautiful special of the day?
Yes.
So we've made that special of the day plus a bunch of quick bites available for our families every day. They can order it every day of the week. And when they pick up their kids from school that day, they can pick up dinner for that night.
Oh, I love this because my kids are in sports, and some of these sports
Yes.
programs will sell a meal, but it's junk.
Yes.
I would love to pick up a plant-based meal. This all sounds phenomenal. It also sounds expensive.
So unfortunately, food does have a cost. That's the reality that we're dealing with. But our prices, they range. So our prices for lunch, I believe they start at about $2, and I think they go up to, they could possibly go up to $10 approximately. So there's a range. So depending on what you get, some things are much less expensive than other things. When you're getting into things like Impossible Burgers and Beyond Burgers, those things are going to be more expensive. Those are, what we would call the vegan designer meals, You don't have to order those. So if you don't want to order those, don't order those. If you're at a budget, what I tell people that are working at a budget is stick at the lesser cost items or buy a couple days a week and bring a couple days a week.
Sure. And a lot of plant-based foods are not expensive. Beans.
Right.
That's
Right.
like the cheapest.
And we have beans and rice on the menu every single day. So that's there every day. You can always get beans and rice.
Nice.
Yes.
And people say, choose your hard. You're going to pay now or you're going to pay
Yes.
later. What do they say? Pay the farmer or pay the pharmacist, whatever little saying you want to use. So it makes sense that things cost money, things that are quality. When, by the way, did you make the transformation with the menu?
So that happened when we moved to this campus. So prior to 2020, we had been renting at facilities. And so we were always in facilities. They didn't have commercial kitchens. So we never did our own food. We didn't have a commercial kitchen. We didn't have a chef. So either kids brought their own food or it was delivered in. Okay, when we moved to this campus, we purchased this campus in 2020. It had its own commercial kitchen. And so at that moment, that was like when I was like, now we can do this.
Yes.
Now we can do it.
I do want to ask you about the culinary program. I know a lot of schools have like home ec or something like that, but tell us how it works here at Solid Rock.
So this year we started a pilot program. And it is a culinary program. And it's so students who have an interest in the culinary profession can receive training and experience and something to put on their resume when they graduate high school. And so those students sign up for the program and they spend part of their day every day in the kitchen working with the chefs. And so they actually prep and help serve the lunches. And then they have book work and skill work that they do throughout the week also.
Very
and so
cool.
their goal is to receive different certifications as they go through the program.
Ooh, very useful. Awesome. What are the takeaways for other schools? My kids attend public school. This sounds amazing, but it doesn't sound like something that's going to happen at my kids' school tomorrow.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it probably will not happen in public schools for a long time because it's so hard. What I'm hoping to see public schools do is to offer plant-based options. And there are some schools across the country who do offer plant-based options. Some do, some don't. I do expect to see that moving forward as time moves on. As far as going fully plant-based, that's a whole different avenue. So once you make that decision, you don't qualify for the National School Free and Reduced Lunch Program.
Really?
Yes. So there are 2 schools in the United States that cannot qualify for that program because we are fully plant-based. And so if you do not have animal products on the menu, you cannot qualify. So only 2 of us in the United States.
In the United States?
Yes.
What's the other one?
That is Muse School in California.
Okay, it would be in California.
Yes. That makes a lot more sense than Tarpon Springs, Florida.
It does, but good for us. Look at Florida. Okay, I could talk to you all day, and I know we're going to have a tour, which people can view on our Facebook and Instagram at The Zest Podcast, and we'll have a link to your school, of course, at thezestpodcast.com. But I do want to know, what are some of the other sustainability initiatives happening at the school?
So we have a seed to table garden in our school, which is phenomenal. And so that's really cool because not only are the kids learning how to garden and how to be sustainable in their own ways, right? But they're also providing this food to the lunch program. So we get some of our salad bar through that program. So that's awesome. Of course, we're a recycling school. There's a lot of different things that we're teaching the kids. The science classes integrate sustainability and environmentalism into all science classes. So that is something every single year, regardless of what science the kids are taking, environmentalism and sustainability are weaved in. And so what's interesting is in public schools, they generally don't even teach environmentalism. It's not even on the roster of some schools K through 12. And then if it is, it might be 1 year, maybe. We integrate it every year because we actually think it's the most important thing about science that kids can be learning, because not only are they going to be learning to take care of their bodies, to take care of their community, but to take care of the world.
Oh, I want to go to this school. And you have an animal sanctuary on the other campus.
We do. It's so exciting. So the animal sanctuary is right now about a mile from this campus, from our main campus, but the plans are it will be moving onto this campus within the next few years. So we do have a building project called Operation Unify that is taking place to move that here.
Okay.
And Operation Unify means to unify the campuses, to merge them together.
What grades are the campuses? I mean, people are listening going, I want to sign my kid up for this school.
Hopefully that's what they're saying. I just don't want people to think, oh my gosh, these people are crazy, because we're not crazy. Okay, we're forward thinking, and really everything that we're doing is about things that are better for humans, better for environment, better for animals, and ultimately better globally. So we cover all grades. This campus, our main campus, is K-12. The other campus is the home of the Animal Sanctuary and the SAVE program. SAVE stands for Sanctuary for Animals and Veterinary Education. So our students who are interested in vocational careers with animals, so whether that be a veterinarian, vet tech, or vet assistant, whether that be a wildlife rehabber, or anything. So when we can start putting these things in action in our community, then we have a better outlook for the world.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so grateful that Louise Krikorian put me in touch with you. And in her initial email, she mentioned that there was a connection with the documentary Forks Over Knives, which I think a lot of people may be familiar with.
So we have a connection with John Corey and Dr. Colin Campbell and his family. So Dr. Colin Campbell is obviously featured on Forks Over Knives. He's like my guru. Who doesn't love him, right? So I reached out to him several years ago when I was making the changes with the food program at the school and just seeking some guidance and some advice. And so that's how we connected. And then we've done a few things together. And now we're working with John Corey, who was the producer of Forks Over Knives, who is working with the school. He actually helped us set up our morning news studio, which you'll get to see in a little while, doing some promos for the school and working on a documentary for the school. So that will be coming in the future.
Ooh, so exciting. Oh, we'll have to come back and talk about that. What a cool concept for a school. I just think this is phenomenal. Michele, thank you so much for all your time.
Thank you so much.
Michele Fasnacht is the founder and executive director of Solid Rock Community School in Tarpon Springs, Florida. My colleague Alex Ebron and I stayed for lunch, and it was pretty good, which is why I think you will be happy to know that the school has shared its recipe for gluten-free, vegan chocolate chip cookies. Find it on our website, thezestpodcast.com. And remember, you can see a video tour of the school on our Facebook and Instagram at The Zest Podcast. I'm Dalia Colon. I produce The Zest with Andrew Lucas and Alexandria Ebron. The Zest is a production of WUSF, copyright 2025, part of the NPR network.